Hello again, everyone, on MySpace and YouTube.com. This, of course, is Jeremy Horn. I'm doing part two of my video blog for the book Come On People, on the Path of Victims to Victors. I don't have to say the author so you know who it is. Right now, I want to talk about Chapter 7, talk about the high price of violence. And in this chapter, it's talking about the gun violence that's going on in the African American community. That is a very big epidemic. It's just young black men, not only young black men, but young black people killing young black people. They're killing each other over jealousy, envy, gang-related, drug-related, lack of education. And it's very, very hurtful. And just the statistics. And it's very, very sad. And also, this chapter really talks about, really lets me remind me of myself about what's going on in the city of Chicago right now, the Chicago public school system. Because right now, last year, they had 42 students that was killed, that was a victim of gun violence. Like example, Blair Holt. And also, this year, we have 22 students right now that was killed due to gun violence. And I posted a blog on my MySpace profile talking about the rally that held at the Thompson Center due to gun violence that's going on in the Chicago public schools. Of course, there was a shootout in Crane Tech with a guy named Reuben Ivy. And it's just an epidemic, man. Not only an epidemic, but it's genocide, point blank genocide. And it's very, very sad. And I have a call out that I read on chapter 7 that I want to share with you guys. It's from Dr. Marie Pierre Lewis, and she's from Washington, D.C. She said, and I quote, "It is not easy for us to see your body on your autopsy table, to have to crack open your chest with shears, sew up your skull, see your brain come out. It hurts. Sometimes your head is just like a bag of bones, a bag of stones. And it takes a lot of effort to reconstruct your face so your parents can recognize you. So we give your body back to them. Sometimes you survive for years in a wheelchair with sores all over your back that do not heal completely. Education is very important, and you have yourself to make the decision to say no to this violence, to remain in school. Because you see, if you don't get that high school certificate, you don't get a certificate from college, there is one waiting for you at the office of the chief medical examiner. It is the death certificate." And also, here is another call out that I really want to share that really touched my heart. It's from Kenneth Mars Sr. from Washington, D.C. And he had a son that was murdered. And I want to really share this to my viewers on YouTube and MySpace. And I quote, "I was asked to say a couple of words on behalf of homicide victims and their families. For those of y'all who know me, 9 years ago, I walked across this stage. I'm a graduate of UDC. I was getting my master's. I had retired on disability, and I decided to go on toward my doctorate, and I was accepted at Loyola College in Baltimore. Around my third year, I got news that no parent wants to hear. That was that my son had been shot and murdered. He owned a clothing store in Washington, D.C. He was shot by a young man, 17 years of age. And this young man, we later found out, had killed at least 2 other people of which the authorities were aware. What we need to understand is that there is an epidemic taking place in America, and that epidemic is death by gun violence, and it's killing young African American males. Where are our leaders when it comes to talking about this issue? We don't hear it." Yeah, we as black people really need to stop making excuses saying it's the white man's fault that we're living below the poverty rate. It's the white man's fault that some blacks are living in poor homes, broken homes. Or we as black people need to stop making excuses that we're living in these type of situations, but majority of it is our own fault. And I blame some parents saying that you're not going to the school and find out why is my child not attending school, or why is my child not doing his homework, or etc., etc. And you have some parents say that is your job. And you have some parents that are on drugs or on alcoholism You have some parents who just don't care. You have a single mother that is working 2 or 3 jobs because the baby's father figure in the house is not around, abandoned them and all that stuff. And it just gets very devastating, you know. But it's just, there's just young black people just killing each other over gun violence, man. And it's sad, you know, it's the travesty, you know, it's very travesty, you know. I mean, right now, I mean, in the United States of America, we are facing a 30% high school dropout rate, you know, and for black men, black people, you know, it's up to 50%, and in some cities it's up to 70%, you know, and they drop out of school and they are 6 times more likely to end up in prison. So, you know, it's a very vicious cycle, you know. I tell them all the time, if you don't give your brothers and sisters the opportunity to better themselves individually and pass it along to some of their other family members, then what's going to happen, it's going to continue to be a very vicious cycle, you know. And we need to really, really break that cycle. We need to challenge that anger and that frustration and trying to turn it into a positive thing. Because 40 years ago, I know that last Friday was the 40th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s death. I mean, 40 years ago, if he marched just to have his own people have better education, better jobs, give themselves better opportunities, and 40 years later, you see the unemployment like skyrocketing. You have a big number of high school dropouts, you know, and Dr. King's dream is becoming a nightmare. Now, I don't want to keep blabbing and blabbing, but I'm saying this right now, and I really want to get my message across to YouTube and also to everyone on MySpace.com that Dr. King's dream is becoming a nightmare. I know him, Malcolm X, and all the other civil rights activists who fought, who sacrificed their whole lives, so I, myself, and other black people can have more opportunities in life to turn over their grave and is being disappointed in us because we are not carrying on the tradition. We are not carrying on the struggle that's going on. And I really, really worry about the next generation, about what's going on to the next generation because, you know, it's getting very, very bad. We really need to do something about it because this is getting way out of hand, you know. So I really, really had to get this out from my chest, you know. And I can say this is a very amazing book. Please go buy this book, or if you don't have the money, borrow it at your local library because you are missing out an amazing book that is going to change your life forever. And it's even changed my life forever, you know. So please go pick up this book. And don't forget, this Tuesday, I will definitely answer your questions that you all can ask me. And it's going to be fun, and I hope that it turns out to be a success. So please keep in touch, all right? Peace.